Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Patricia Villone. Thank you for joining us. Well, an early morning call reporting gunshots in Fort Washington leads police to a burning car and a dead body. Officers responded to the 1100 block of Palmer Road about 1 o'clock. Denise Douglas is at the Berkshire apartment complex with the details.
You can actually still smell the burnt odor in the air here. Let me show you where police found the car that was on fire. This spot here where you can see the ground is charred and burnt. This is in the back of the apartment complex here at Berkshire Apartments in Fort Washington. Police were called out here after getting calls about multiple gunshots. Once they got here, they saw again that the car was on fire, and one of the officers tried to pull the person out inside. That person turns out to be 33-year-old Marcellus Jackson, but he was pronounced dead right here on the scene. Police say that Jackson was shot multiple times. They believe that the car caught on fire after rolling into the wooded area right here, and it was ignited by dry leaves.
Our homicide investigators will probably end up going back, canvassing the neighborhood, knocking on doors, just seeing if somebody saw something suspicious or has the slightest tip that might help us in this investigation.
There are still a lot of questions here. Police don't know if this was a random shooting. At this point, they don't have a suspect or a motive, but say they are still investigating. I'm Denise Douglas, CTV News.
Now, we spoke with a number of neighbors who did not want to be on camera, but said they were shocked by this crime. And if you have any information that can be used, you can call Crime Solvers. That number is 1-866-411-TIPS. Well, the family of a 21-year-old man shot by a former Mount Rainier police officer spoke out today after his sentencing. Gene Gillette will serve 10 years behind bars. He admitted to luring John Hall to his Capitol Heights home to film pornography last July, but there were no girls when Hall arrived. Gillette wanted Hall to perform sexual acts on him. When he tried to get away, Gillette shot Hall. Hall's sister says he's still traumatized.
Initially, when we heard the sentence and it was made clear to us so that we can understand it, we weren't happy. But once everything was explained to us, we are confident that Gene Gillette was brought to justice, so we are happy.
I think that Officer Gillette was a devious person. I think he was an extremely dangerous individual who was obviously very devious, that he led, in my estimation, more than one lifestyle, and it caused damage to someone in our community, and we're glad that we were able to, at this point, remove him because he obviously posed a very serious threat to our community.
Gillette had been on the Mount Rainier police force for 3.5 years. Meanwhile, in an unrelated case, a serial arsonist who investigators say set at least 18 fires in D.C. and Prince George's County has been sentenced to 25 years. Maurice Dews pleaded guilty to the crimes. Well, it's an effort to protect and educate pedestrians. CTV's Sonia Srivastava is in Langley Park, where police are offering safety advice to Prince George's residents.
Well, since we've been in Langley Park, which is about the last 15 minutes, we have seen a number of people who've been illegally crossing the roads and jaywalking, and that is a real concern for police. Today, they are handing out flyers to residents, both in English and in Spanish, and police tell us that majority of this area is very highly populated, and sometimes residents simply don't see the threat of vehicles coming their way. So today they are reinforcing their efforts to let people know that this is a real issue and people can seriously get hurt.
This area is particularly bad for us because of the commercial is on one side of University Boulevard and a lot of apartment complexes are on the other. So they constantly cross in the non-crosswalk areas. There's some new signs posted, which you can see, asking people to use the crosswalks. And so we're trying to get people to use the crosswalks so this will be safer for them to cross the roadways. The information we're passing out today is in both English and Spanish, so hopefully that can educate some of the people who don't speak English on the topic.
Now, besides Langley Park, County Police are in 6 other locations giving out these flyers. In Langley Park, Sonia Srivastava for CTV News.
Some of the fines start at $40 and go up to as high as $500. Well, Maryland State Police want to remind drivers about the rules of the road, and tonight, one law in particular. Law enforcement officials say the move over law is a critical safety provision, but one that many motorists are unacquainted with. Rochelle Metzger is in College Park for the launch of a new campaign to help boost public awareness.
You're driving along and you see an emergency vehicle on the side of the road. What do? Well, Maryland's move over law requires you to move over one lane and to slow down. But many drivers don't do this, and the result can be deadly.
Just 2 days ago on I-95 in Baltimore, a highway worker was struck and critically injured, putting stripes down on a work zone. Also just 2 days ago, a car veered off the side of the road in an accident scene, accelerating into a group of emergency workers on Highway 161 in Arkansas.
As of March 15 this year, there have already been 9 traffic-related fatalities in the United States.
Law requires that literally drivers are required to move over or slow down in an effort to provide an extra barrier of safety for a police officer, a firefighter, and emergency rescue personnel who are working on the sides of Maryland roadways. Today we unveil a bumper sticker designed to remind motorists of the move over law.
Too few of Maryland citizens are aware of this law, or that violating it will result in fines and points.
If you're observed by a trooper not moving over at the scene when there are emergency vehicles on the side, it's a $110 fine and 1 point. If your actions result in an accident, then it's going to be a $150 fine and 3 points.
So if you didn't know, now you know. They'll be running this public awareness campaign over the next few months. In addition to the bumper stickers, they'll be rolling out a number of PSAs, as well as messages on electronic billboards, all to spread the message, slow down and move over. From College Park, I'm Rochelle Metzger, CTV News.
And Maryland's move over law was approved by Governor O'Malley and put into effect in October 2010. But you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Villone.